I'm currently a 12 handicap chasing a dream to qualify for the Korn Ferry Tour by 2030, all while working a full-time job. I only get one day a week to practice, so today I'm taking you out with me to the beautiful Stony Creek Golf Club in Whitsett, North Carolina to document what a full practice session looks like for me. In this video, I'm working on every single aspect of my game, and I'll be explaining things as we go along. By the way, it was also extremely hot today, so I apologize in advance for the sweat stains. Alright, let's dive right in. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So as we get set up on the range here, I just want to take a quick second and say thank you to everyone who's supported me in this journey so far. You guys watching, liking, and commenting and subscribing has allowed me to continue to do this, so thank you. Also, this is a different style video for me. I've never done some sort of like voiceover where I'm talking over what you're seeing, so bear with me in that. We're still learning, but right now I'm just basically kind of doing some stretches and getting the blood flowing through the body. I know I'm only 30, but I do want to keep playing this game for a long time, and because I don't have a textbook golf swing, I want to try to prevent injury as much as possible, so that's why I'm stretching here. If you don't stretch, I would highly recommend doing so before you even swing a club. So we're just kind of getting loose here and getting ready to take our first swing of the day. You'll notice that I have two alignment sticks down. The first one is by the feet, the other one is down the target line. I'll explain that here in a second. But before we get into all of that, I want to kind of explain the goals of the range session today. So we're working on some wrist hinge, working on impact location with driver through differential practice, and we're going to spend a lot of time just simulating on-course stuff. So first swing of the day, this is the first time I put the alignment stick down. And I guess I decided I didn't need it, so there's that. I always put the one by my feet, but this particular day I put one down my target line. But right now I'm just taking about 5 warm-up shots. Some of them are chips, some of them are full swing or 3/4. Some of them are even shanks, like the second one you just saw. I guess that came from me being so rattled from the alignment stick flying down the range. But during these swings, I'm not really thinking about anything, not really trying to work on anything. The main point of the warm-up, these 5 shots, is to just get loose. So I run to go get my alignment stick and put it way further down the range than where it was previously. And now I'm going to go ahead and start the first goal of the range session, which is where we are trying to drill in setting the wrist a little bit earlier in the backswing. So I spent the last years trying to fix swaying when I get to the top of the backswing, and so the result is I start the swing really pushing into the ground with my right foot, so that's why my right hip goes back to start. But that throws a lot of energy into the club, and it causes the club to get across the line at the top, and that results in a lot of face control issues, impact issues, all of that stuff. So I know lessons will fix a lot of these things, but we're balling on a budget, so lessons aren't really in the cards for me, so I have to kind of just do things via self-discovery and take feedback from every single round, like I've mentioned in my previous videos. So right now I'm just not really caring where the ball goes, just focusing on trying to get the wrist hinged earlier in the backswing, as well as keeping a flat lead wrist. So I do some pause drills, I do some take it to the top, bring it to the last parallel drill, try to rotate. Nothing's really working. But I also know the older you get, the harder it is to ingrain a new motor pattern. So, and we're on the range here, so I'm not really expecting a stripe show per se during this session of block practice. So I hit these last couple balls, and you know, again, don't really care about that. My main focus here is to stick to my process, focus on that wrist hinge, and see what happens. But as we get to this last ball here, I've been at this for a minute, and I was like, okay, I'm starting to get a little results oriented. Things are getting a little frustrating, so I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna move on. So the second goal of the range session today is to do a differential training drill. Shout out to Adam Young. And we're working on driver here, and the goal is to do 3 shots intentionally off the heel, 3 off the toe, and 3 off the center of the face. Now, the purpose of this drill is to build skill and club face awareness in regards to what it's doing at impact. So as I get set up here for the first shot, we're starting with heel shots, and mission accomplished, because I almost missed the ball. I don't know if you guys want to count that since it was in the last possible portion of the club face, but shot 2 here is a little bit better. I hit it more out the heel, less missing the ball, and as we get to the third shot, I hit that out the heel as well, I think. Now, we move on to the toe strikes, where I'm trying to intentionally hit it off the toe, and I sky the ball out the middle of the face. Now, this next shot is actually the last shot of what I got because my phone overheated and it was very bad. So let's move on. So after letting my phone cool down for about 10 minutes, I started the third and final portion of the range session where I spent a lot of time playing this game, as you see on the screen. So I got 2 balls per club, and the rule is I have to pick a new target every single shot and then notate the feedback. So what this does is this simulates on-course, I guess, pressure, but it also helps with checking my alignment because after every single shot, I see how close I got to my target and notated where it ended, where it started. So the first shot was to the flag to the left of the screen that my body was blocking. This shot, I'm lined up right with the S that you see at the end of the range. Not that I'm trying to get this 8 iron to that, but just trying to get this shot in line with that. So this one kind of faded off a little bit more to the right than I liked, but on course, I would take that all day. The other thing I did intentionally during this drill is to alternate between a long club and a short club. And so we've got driver here, but one thing I love about this game is that it forces me to be externally focused. And because on the course, you're not going to be thinking about setting your wrists earlier in the backswing or anything like that. Also, with it being on video, it helps me see any sort of alignment concerns. Like this shot here, I line up with this flag in the back left corner, but you'll notice my club head is pointed out to the right of that and my feet even more right of that. And anytime that happens for me, I always get this nasty duck hook. But this was the last shot because I was afraid my phone was going to overheat. So now we're going to move on to short game. So for short game, the object was pretty simple. I find a hole, I'm placing some tees about 4 feet away from the hole, and the goal is to try and get the ball within that 4-foot zone, but we're gonna be just kind of leaving these tees here and moving around this green. So we're trying to find as many lies that you possibly can find, and we're using a 56 and a 60 degree, and as you can see, I'm clearly using a 60 degree here. And I'm using 5 ball sets. Now, with each shot, I'm tinkering. So I'm basically messing with the face, like opening the face, closing the face, as well as ball position. But the goal of every single one of these shots is to focus on a landing area and try to get that ball to stop within that 4-foot zone. Because if you can get it to within 4 feet, that makes a pretty easy putt. So that was a pretty flat lie for that set. For this set, we're going with a downhill lie to this portion of the green that slopes pretty heavily away from us. And so I'm mainly using 60 for this set, and as you can see, that's a pretty good result right there. Now, I'm not trying to hit the flag every single time. Like I said, I'm just trying to get it to stop within that zone. So I stuck with the 56 here because, or the 60, excuse me, because I know that a 56 is going to make it run just a little bit more. So now we're on to the tight lie, which is one of the scariest lies in the game of golf. And fortunately, I follow Joe Mayo on Instagram, and some of the videos that he's been putting out, I've been kind of trying to implement into this portion of my chipping. And these last 2 shots actually ended up pretty well. But don't worry, folks, it gets way worse because we move on to bunker play right here. Yep, that's pretty much all you got. Now, for what it's worth, this particular practice bunker is pretty shallow. It doesn't have a lot of sand in it. It's pretty compact. And I think this whole set, I was trying to do a shot almost like it was a fluffy lie, even though I'm using a 60 here. So I think I got to play it a little bit different based on the lie, but I don't really know how to do that without squaring the face a little bit more and just like whacking the heck out of it. So a lot of these shots were either really chunky or screaming out the bunker with no control whatsoever. So I gotta get some work on that. So after that, we moved on back to chipping, and here we are from an uphill lie. So here I'm using a 56 because I know a 60 is just gonna pop that thing way up in the air, but I'm still doing the same thing as I was on the last few chipping sessions where I experiment with different types of lies. As you saw, I just try to like pat that down a little bit. But I'm also experimenting with like squaring the face a little bit more to take a little bit more loft off of it, trying to open the face, see what happens, you know, work on ball position, all that stuff. But the end goal is the same, to try to get it within that 4-foot circle. So as you can see, a lot of these shots didn't end up too well, but it's about getting the reps. So for the third and final part of this session, we finished with putting. Now, we got 2 simple drills, but this portion of this whole practice session probably took me the longest because this one drill, the circle drill, is the bane of my existence. I got a love-hate relationship with this thing. So you set up tees around the hole starting at 3 feet. And the goal is to hold every single putt from that distance before you move back. Now, I don't know why I chose 5 balls instead of just putting an extra tee and a ball down to cover that little gap we have there, I guess, between like 6 and 4 o'clock. But I just went with that because that's what I'm going to use for the ladder drill. I'll explain that here in a second. But we breeze through our 3-footers, and then this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting because for some reason 4 feet away, I'm like intimidated by. So, you know, this first 3 balls are okay, but then we start to get a little bit shaky, I guess, and we proceed to hit the nastiest slip out you've ever seen in your entire life. So because I missed it, we got to pull out all of our balls that we've made and start over again. Now, this drill in and of itself could take forever if you're not really good between 3 and 6 feet like myself. This whole drill in and of itself probably took, I want to say, close to 45 minutes to fully complete, and my phone ended up overheating. So we're here still in 4 feet and everything's well, but I raced that one by the hole. So now we got to start over again. At this point in my brain, I'm thinking I still got the rest of these 4-footers 5 feet and 6 feet to do, and if I'm this bad from 4 feet, I know 5 feet and beyond is going to take me forever. So I'm just kind of trying to hurry up but also take my time. So we fortunately got everything done with the 4 feet, so we moved back to 5 feet here, and I proceed to pull that one so far left. So I'm like, okay, that'll be fine. I push the next one to the right, and then the 3rd time is the charm. You thought, buddy. How about the 4th time? We drip it in there by the skin of our teeth. So we keep moving, and long story short, 5 feet took me a long time because I lipped out. We got to start over again. So I try starting from a different place. I raced that one by the hole. What about time number 2? Yeah, we made that one. Okay. So as you can see, this drill can take forever if you're struggling with your putter. But at the same time, you build up reps like crazy, and it helps you not just hit a straight flat putt on a 7-foot putting mat at the house. So one of the biggest struggles that I have is my green reading, and so hitting these little putts from 3 to 6 feet really helped me dial in the green reading. As you can see here, we're feeling this with our feet, which actually helps. So if you don't do that, I would highly recommend learning how to read it with your feet as I proceed to miss that one. So take that with a grain of salt, but you're also not going to hole every single putt. So again, even though this portion of the practice session took me forever, I still know that this is going to help out in the long run because I'm getting more reps here on a practice green than I would just what I do at the house. So every single lip out, every single push, every single pull, every putt that raced by the hole is one putt closer to holding more putts. So hopefully it translates to the course. But now what we're going to do is we're going to move on as I finish up these 6-footers to the second drill, which is a very nice drill for speed control. Speaking of racing things by the hole, this drill will help with that. So this is the ladder drill. You set up a tee and then you step out 10 paces or 10 feet. I walked out to about 15 feet right here, so I set another tee down 5 foot closer, and you set up a tee 10 to 30 feet in 5-foot increments. So you have a tee at 10 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet, 25, all the way out to 30. And then I have another tee on the far end there that is 10 feet away from the furthest tee, if that makes sense. Now, you want to find a line that is uphill and downhill. That way you're working on speed control from both directions. And the goal is to hit each putt to within 18 inches of that specific tee. It's okay if you leave it short. It's okay if you leave it long, just as long as it's within 18 inches within that tee. So one of the things I pride myself in as a putter, despite what you saw during the circle drill, is I feel like I have pretty good speed. Very rarely do I race it 10 to 20 feet by the hole because I whacked it. Normally it's coming up short or it is rolling out to maybe 3 feet. So this drill helps tremendously with speed control. So I really like it. So right here, I'm just going up and back 2 times, but because my phone was dying at this point because of the battery and the overheating from the sun, I only got the up and back portion. So yeah, let me know if you're using any of these drills in your practice, and if you're not, I would highly recommend it. All right, guys, that is going to do it for this week's video. I am drenched in sweat. This is an athletic shirt, and it's soaked. But it was hot today, and probably about 70 to 90% humidity. I don't know, it's hot. But yeah, my phone overheated multiple times. I got some weird looks for having a tripod out on a practice facility, so that's a first for me. But hey, we hit some good shots, hit some bad shots, but all in all, I feel like we made some progress today. So with that said, next week's video is going to be me playing my first ever 9-hole round here for YouTube. So if you want to stick around for that, hit the subscribe button. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Also, you can check out the video that pops up right here to see what is in my bag. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week.